Hello, everybody. I would like to start by wishing everyone a good early afternoon. My name is Adriana Planinic. I work at Children's Cancer Research Institute in Vienna as a project manager, and I'm supporting Ruth Ladenstein with managing projects EJP RD and Erica from CCRI's side, basically all projects related to rare diseases at this point. Thank you to all participants for registering and attending this live tutorial or interactive webinar, as we call it, in the organization of Project Erica, Work Package 5 on translation and innovation, but also in collaboration with EJP RD Work Package 19. These two projects are interconnected and they share the same aim, that is to support the ERNs and in global the rare disease research. These two projects, as I said, are very well working together, and what we aim here to do is not to duplicate, rather than to build on the efforts of one project and another one. The special thank you goes to EATRIS, European Infrastructure for Translational Medicine, for highest contribution in development of Catalogue of Services and the Innovation Management Toolbox, or the IMT itself. And linking one with another, and at the end for preparing this live tutorial for all of you today. Before I give the floor to my panelists today, I would like to give you some basic instructions. So all participants are automatically muted. You can write questions in the chat and we will read them out loud at the end of each of two sessions. And at that point, you will be unmuted in case you would like to further comment on your question or add another one. I will also launch a few short questions right at the beginning of the webinar and also during the webinar. Those are going to be short pop-up questions that you can answer. I may share some of the results with all of you, but mainly those questions are designed for us for writing the report after the webinar. So with this being said, allow me to present our first panelist. He is well known in the community. His name is Anton Ussi. Anton is Operations and Finance Director at EATRIS. He is a specialist in the establishment of public-public and also public-private collaborations. And he's well known in the translational research arena. He's also co-leading pillars and work packages from both mentioned projects, EJP RD and Erica. So Anton will give you a short introduction into development of the Catalogue of Services, and is in fact the right person to answer questions for researchers who are either at the beginning of their journey and need some ideas and some guidance, or are at the middle of their research but have encountered a hurdle and actually need help in finding the right services that can help them. So Anton, let me just give you the right to share your screen, and then the floor is yours.
Thanks very much, Adriana, for the very kind introduction. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining. Hope you'll find this useful. We'll try and make it short, sharp, and punchy, but do please ask questions if anything is not clear. So I'm wondering what you see now. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, and it's in the right mode, yeah?
Yes, in the right mode.
Okay, perfect. Super. Alrighty. So, oops, no, wrong buttons. Okay, good. So, together with Agustin and Rosan and Adriana today, we'll talk about the available services. Now, the reason we've put this together is that it's clear. I mean, you're no doubt aware of the crisis in reproducibility of preclinical research. You've probably heard of the innovation paradox, which is Europe's tremendous ability at basic research, but our struggle to turn that into actual impact for patients and healthy people. So these two things combined sort of come together in the valley of death, that bit where the validation and translation into application in the clinic is incredibly difficult, not rarely owned by a specific sector, and so therefore owned by nobody. So if you see the slide here, you'll see that at all stages of the design, execute, closeout phase of research, there are flaws being built into the process. So there's a lot of research infrastructures out there that are trying to help this. And so we built these catalogs of those services available so that you, the researcher, can have all the expertise and support you need in any stage of your process. Bear that in mind, because there is a world out there of experts who want to help you, whose business is to help you, not necessarily for profit. So so bear that in mind and have a listen in today. So what we've done with Erica is a three-stage process. Firstly, to end up with this catalog, firstly to map what do we have, so cross-check what do the ERIC membership have in terms of available services and resources, the European Joint Programme in Rare Diseases likewise, and then getting to understand what the overlaps are and see what the infrastructure's availability is and have a look at everything that's available. Then consulting all the various resources out there in order for us to understand really what's out there, how is it made available, etc. And then finally cataloging the relevant information. So everything from, how do you find samples and associated data, to resources, to support, to models, tools, and actual services for you to be able to really navigate the understanding of that. Right now it's a static catalog, but we're going to turn it into a searchable online database through the connection to the Innovation Management Toolbox, which has been expertly developed by Agustin and team, and he will be talking a bit more about that later. So within Europe, there's this panoply of life sciences research infrastructures, ranging from animal models to translational research, to clinical research, to life sciences data. You've probably heard of one or more of some of these. You may have even engaged with them, but it is hard to understand who does what. Some people call it an alphabet soup of infrastructures. So being able to understand who can help you, when they should help you, and how they can help you is very important. And that's the intention of the catalog today. Together with the life sciences infrastructures, the European Joint Programme for Rare Diseases is even a sort of a higher level initiative that involves some of those infrastructures and really brings together all of Europe's efforts in rare disease research to where we have a high proportion of the activities covered there. And it really covers 5 pillars. So besides the coordination, it covers the translational and clinical parts in which EATRIS and others are busy with. There's also rare disease research funding in Pillar 1. You'll have seen the calls, the joint transnational calls that are open every couple of years. There's education, the capacity building, empowerment, and then there's the virtual platform under Pillar 2 as well, providing access to data resources and analytical tools. It's a very large initiative running until, end of next year. You see that there's almost 100 partners. The total budget of this, I think, is 100 million euros, of which more than 30 million euros is going into research funding, so open calls for the community, and the rest is in terms of building infrastructure, services, and resources for the community, so we can do better rare disease research and innovation. All 24 ERNs are represented in it as well, which is good to know, plus patient advocacy groups and others of relevance. So what does the EJP RD do? Well, it provides really a single point of entry for this broad range of support, ranging from the funding for researchers, ranging from funding to training to tools and resources, plus this large network. So it's also easy to find people that you need to find and wouldn't necessarily know where to find them in the past. For clinicians, very similar, plus extra support around, for instance, methodologies for small patient populations for clinical trials. There's a clinical studies support desk, so you really can have this one-stop shop to help you with setting up multinational clinical trials. For patients, there's specific expertise available, networking opportunities, training at every stages, funding available as well. And even for policymakers, you see that there's availability of ready resources in that. I'm not going to go through all of these, but you see that really it's an end-to-end initiative that really tries to cover all of the stakeholders and all of the resources necessary to help us really advance our understanding of rare diseases. So how do we empower stakeholders? That's a good question. So the main issues we do, the main things we do there, firstly, we do the networking activities to help bring people together around specific ideas. There are small funding grants available for that. and also to help profit from the multinational funding opportunities under Pillar 1, where you can actually create international consortia which are funded by your local funders. In the yellow box there, that's the data platform. The virtual platform is really to help you understand what's out there in terms of tools and resources, but even more than that, preclinical models, screening capacities, samples, and even being able to analyze pathways to understand better drug targets for future rational drug design. And then there's training, data verification support services, and tools for phenome-genome analysis as well. Besides then, in the blue box here, you see this support for clinical studies, knowledge sharing around translational research, support for researchers conducting translational research through mentoring with industrial experts, and there's even support to help find follow-on funding if your project is showing good results, to be able to understand, okay, we want to take this further, how are we going to do this before project close? So really to try and create seamless development towards the patient. We also have just developed a free online course, again with the EATRIS and other associated teams developing the content of this. So it's a MOOC, which is a massive open online course, which really provides a quite an in-depth introduction to translational research, specifically focused on rare diseases. I think even if you consider yourself a basic researcher or a clinician scientist, understanding that pathway, understanding what happens post-publication, post that discovery, which really isn't the end of a process, but the beginning of a process to actually generate patient value. It's very important to understand what translational research involves, the challenges of being able to turn a concept into an actual approved application, and how multidisciplinary, how risky, how challenging, but how important it is as well. So this course is a very interesting way for you to get an introduction to that. We would encourage everybody to do this. You see that it's a 5-week duration with 4-hour weekly study, and it's fully online. And you'd be very welcome to join that for free. The final thing I'm going to talk about briefly before handing over to Agustin for an actual live demonstration, which is always dangerous, but we're sure it's going to work, is about the Innovation Management Toolbox. So this was developed under the EJP Rare Diseases, and it's an interactive searchable database, really focused on any range of resources, guidelines, any sort of links to organizations that can provide answers to specific questions for developing your translational strategy. So it really covers all aspects of applied research, from biomarkers to drug regulatory to preclinical models, clinical trials, and more. I think that, if I'm not mistaken, there are more than 300 resources to which the IMT links. And we didn't build all those resources ourselves. It really was a question of bringing together everything that exists, because there's a lot of support out there already. And we're also developing use cases with practical guidance and saying, okay, this is an example for biomarker validation. These are the kinds of things that you could expect to find in the support. And it's also going to be linked to the ERDERC Orphan Drug Development Guide, which is also quite a large tool, really showing all of the different steps necessary to develop an orphan drug in the different types of use case in that, for instance, a novel target with a novel application to something more classical. So integrating the catalog that we've developed under ERICA into the IMT will stimulate that cross-fertilization, ensure that the IMT provides all the resources necessary, but also the catalog then is also linked into the broader range of resources. And that way it's also a single-stop shop for you folks to be able to easily find everything you need. And the IMT has some very strong functionality, really can help you browse through it with your specific questions, being able to type in keywords and then get the answers that you need for your specific question. That's the reason why we've integrated the ERICA catalog into the IMT. So without any further ado, unless there are questions, I'm going to hand over to Agustin, who will very kindly give us a demonstration of the Innovation Management Toolbox. But I'm happy to take some questions first in the meantime. I'll stop sharing so I can see the group. Thank you.
Thank you, Anton, very much. At this point, we do not have questions from our attendees. Once again, you are welcome to ask questions. You can use the question chat in order to do so, and any question that we receive, we will then, of course, give you the permission to speak as well. Until we receive some questions, let me just share with you that the answer to our first call, what is your position? I'm happy to share with you that we have 75% researchers and clinicians with us today. And they are actually targeted audience for this type of webinar. So another question for researchers, please, if you are a researcher, please answer this question as well. We would like to know at what stage of your research are you in? I mean, at what stage in your career? I will leave it for a couple of minutes, 1 minute maybe more. We have 30% voted, and then I will share the answer. Okay. I will close it now, and I will share for everybody to see. So at this point, we have 25% early researchers. We have 19% postdocs. We also have senior postdocs here with us, and principal investigators. Thank you very much. This is very useful information for us. Okay, so to continue with our webinar, I will present you our second panelist today. His name is Agustin Arasanz Duque. He works as a Senior Innovation Manager at Vall d'Hebron Institute of Research in Barcelona. And he was involved in designing the INT from the beginning, and is in fact the one person who can transfer knowledge when it comes to navigating through the toolbox, now that the toolbox in its final stage. I'm sharing with you in the chat a link to the INT, and you can already find it in the chat, and you are invited to simultaneously open the INT while listening to the live tutorial and try all of the features on the spot with Agustin and Rosan. So Agustin is joined by my dear colleague Rosan Vegter today in this live demo. Rosan is Scientific and Training Manager at EATRIS, and she supports translational activities in both projects that are already mentioned, ERICA and EJP RD. You might recognize Rosan's voice if you already played with the toolbox and, for example, watched how to use the INT. So we have all the right persons today with us to explain you how to use the toolbox. Agustin, I will give you the wheel now. Okay, and the floor is yours.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you, Adriana. Thank you, Erica Partners, to invite me to introduce you the Innovation Management Toolbox, the IMT. Now I'm going to share my screen. See, you can do it. Can you see my screen right now? No.
No, at this point, no. You have the permission to share. Yes, now we can see your screen. Perfect. Okay. I will now hide my camera.
Okay, thank you. Okay, as you may know, that Anton mentioned as well, the Innovation Management Toolbox is a library of resources on rare disease translational medicine. This toolbox is intended to support researchers in the long and complex process of drug development. Right now, we have around 450 resources. All of those resources are open access, so the toolbox is free to use. Also, it's a live toolbox. That means that we have planned a creation process on annual basis to remove the outdated resources and to add new relevant ones. The aim of this live session is to show you how those resources are organized and also how to use the main functionalities of the tool. So I encourage you to follow along the webinar and also to participate in the examples and some activities that we have prepared for you to start becoming familiar with the tool. Okay, to start, as you can see here in my screen, we are in the home page. The first things that you come across when you enter in the toolbox is the tutorial that already mentioned Adriana. Here you see the blue bar, and here you have the tutorial. Clicking on this button, you get a 4 minutes video created by Rosan, and explaining the main functionalities of the tool. So it's very convenient for those that enter for the first time in the IMT. Below the tutorial, you find the basic search. Besides the icon, the search icon, here you can type a word like European, and you get a drop-down menu list with different categories, subcategories, services, questions, and resources. But this basic search is very convenient when you know exactly the title of the resource that you are looking for to narrow the search. For instance, if you are looking for European orphan drug designation, right? You narrow the search and you can obtain the resource that you're looking for easily. Okay, if you click on this resource, you go to the browser, but I will explain this later. Okay. Okay, below the blue bar, you get the three main boxes. There are the three main functionalities. The first functionalities is the browser, where you can filter resources by tag, by categories, and geographical scope. The second box is for the Q&A section, where you get a range of questions related with the translational process. Also, those questions are addressed by categories. And finally, the use cases. There is a list of short videos and postcards created by experts in different fields of the transnational drug development. Okay. These functionalities also can be accessed by the main menu. Here you can see the browse resources, questions, and use cases. And we are going to start explaining the browser. That I would say that is the core of the IMT. Here in the browser, all the resources are organized in categories. In these 5 categories: the translational project management, research and drug development, regulatory science, funding sources, intellectual property. And then also you have, in the browser, you have a cloud of subjects or tags that can be used to filter resources, and also a list of regions to filter resources by geographical scope. Okay, so that I would like to give you a couple of examples how to use the browser and filter resources. First, we are going to go to funding sources to filter resources by subject and region. For instance, when you click on funding sources, you see here that you obtain 68 resources related with funding sources. Okay. But in case you are interested just in venture capital or angel investment, for instance, you can use the subject cloud here and click on venture capital or angel investment to narrow your search. as you can see here, now we have 12 resources related with venture capitals or angel investment. Even more, if you are interested just in venture capitals in Europe, you can filter by region. So clicking on Europe, you got the list of venture capitals in Europe. This is an example. Now I'm going to give you another example to filter just by categories, using the categories, because as you can see here, that when you click on one category, some subcategories appears. So in total, we have categories, subcategories, and tertiary categories in order to guide the users to find the specific resources. So now we are going to find resources related with scientific advice. So to do that, we have to go to regulatory science, and then early access support. You can see here we are narrowing the search, and then finally, as a tertiary category, we have scientific advice. Here you obtain 26 resources related with scientific advice. Okay. For the next exercise, we are going to search the ODDG. As Anton mentioned, will be implemented in the IMT, but now we offer it like a resource. So we think this is a very relevant resource. It's like the Bible of transnational research. So we are going to search. We invite you to search together this resource. So if you have opened your IMT website, and also you are in the browser, to find the Orphan Drug Development Guide, the ODDG, we have to go to Research and Drug Development. Okay. Once we are in Research and Drug Development, we are going to click on Disease or Translational Resources. And then databases or tools. I hope you are here, you find it, the Orphan Drug Development Guide. We are going to click on it. Okay. When you click on in any resource, you obtain a brief explanation of this resource. Okay. Also, you have information on the right side. You have information of what kind of resource it is. Could be a PDF, so you would get this icon, or a URL like this resource. You get this icon here. Also, you can see the publisher. In this case, is EATRIS, and the tags related with this resource. Okay. So we are going to visit this resource, clicking on View this resource. Clicking here, we go to the website, to the Orphan Drug Development Guide. This is a very relevant resource for translational research. Here you click on Start. You have an interactive chart with all the steps of orphan drug development, and also with different docs related with each step. So you can click on the red dots that you have here and see the resources there. Okay, if you are not familiar with this resource, we really recommend you to, after the webinar, to check it because it's very interesting. So we come back to the IMT, and the last things to show you in the resource windows is the bookmark. Okay, here you have the bookmark this resource. If you click here, you got a label in the windows of the resource, and that means that this resource is bookmarked and you can collect it afterwards. I think Rosan will explain you where to go and collect all the resources that you bookmark during your search. Okay. Also, I would like to highlight that when you are in the browser, you always has available the basic search here in the blue bar. So you can type here directly the title of the resource that you are looking for. Okay. And another way to search resources in the browser is the map that we call the map. When you enter in the browser, you get this large list of titles that is the categories, the subcategories, and tertiary categories. That means that you have all like an open map of the browser at a glance. So if you would like to use it for instance, to search the ODDG, again, you have to go to the research and drug development here, and then disease or transnational resources, and click on databases or tools. Okay? If you click here, you obtain again the Orphan Drug Development Guide. Okay. If you have any questions about how to use the browser at the end of the session, you can give us your question or your comments. Okay. Okay, this is for the browser information. Now we are going to the questions section. Here in the question sections, as I mentioned, we get a long list of questions related to the translational process, and all those questions are addressed by categories as well. Research and drug development, funding sources, regulatory science, intellectual property. Okay. To give you an example, we can go to research and drug development, click on it, and then select some of those questions. Okay. We are going to click on why is the natural history so important in rare diseases. Clicking on it. What do you get? You get a brief answer, okay? And then at the right side, you get the related resources, a list of related resources. Okay, you also can go here, visit it, or also bookmark those resources and collect it afterwards. Okay, for another example, we can click on how do I develop my biomarker strategy, and also you get a brief answer for these questions and related resources to obtain further information related with this question. Here, I would like to show you the biomarker conversation guide. I think this is very relevant resources if you are setting your biomarker strategy. We can go there. As you can see, here is very extended toolbox with the different steps of the technology, different stages of the technology, and here they explain you how to set up your biomarker strategy in each step of the process. Okay, so I would recommend you to also to bookmark this resource to collect it at the end. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to give the floor to Rosan to explain the use cases and also the services. So thank you very much to attend it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Agustin. I am going to share my screen. Waiting for it to be shown. Can you confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Great. So I would like now to show you the use cases sections, which you can find here at the top next to the questions. Clicking on that, you will see our use cases. So this part is currently being developed, and we now have 4 videos available in the research and development category and the regulatory science category. We are developing more use cases on, for example, project and data management, but also preclinical and clinical development and IP. And once they are ready, they will be uploaded here. The use cases are short videos or podcasts created by experts in different relevant topics of the research and development process, in which they share their experience, their success stories, lessons learned, but also valuable tips for rare diseases projects. So there's one in particular that I would like to show you, which is on how to apply and benefit from an orphan drug designation. Which was developed, the orphan drug designation from EMA, the European Medicines Agency. As you might know, obtaining an orphan designation for your product provides many benefits, the most important being free protocol assistance for academic organizations developing orphan medicines. EMA offers this incentive to further encourage the development of medicines for rare diseases. So this video was developed together with EATRIS and EMA's Research and Innovation Task Force and the Orphan Office from EMA. In this very practical tutorial, besides highlighting the benefits of an orphan drug designation, we will walk you through the different steps of the process and provide you with information on how to evaluate your readiness to apply. We also explain how to access EATRIS, which is the online secure portal to submit applications to EMA. We also guide you through the application form, provide you with useful tips on how to write the scientific part, and explain how the evaluation process of the designation works. We will also explain how protocol assistant works and what questions can be discussed, and where to find useful information to build your drug development strategy. I highly recommend you to have a look at this video. You will also find relevant information on the right-hand side of the video. One that I would like to flag here is the leaflet on EMA tools available for medicines developers for the academic sector. In this leaflet, and I will briefly show it to you, you will see all the different mechanisms in place from EMA to support the development of new and innovative medicines from the early phases in the laboratory all the way up to the patients. So here also I highly recommend you, if we go back to the tool, to bookmark this resource for later, so it's available to you, and I will show that to you in a minute. Now I would like to move on to the Catalogue of Services, which you can find here next to the use cases in the top bar. This services section is actually the same as the Catalogue of Services from ERICA, as mentioned at the beginning of the webinar by Anton. So on the ERICA website, you will find the catalog as a static Excel sheet, which you can download as such. But we have turned this Catalogue of Services into an interactive tool within the IMT to stimulate cross-fertilization between both projects and to interlink the different resources. So the Catalogue of Services lists various support services provided by national and European organizations and initiatives, ranging from data and databases, expertise and support, models and tools, samples, and technologies and facilities. You will see that the services section basically has the same layout as all the other sections, where on the left-hand side you will find these different categories, but you can also view them using the map functionalities, as you can see here. One of the services that I would like to highlight for you, because we think it's very important for you while working on your rare diseases project, is the mentoring services provided by EATRIS. You will find this under the expertise and support category, then development of projects towards a medical application. And then you can scroll down until you reach the EATRIS logo. So here again, when you click on it, you will get to this page. So the mentoring program was initiated by the EJP RD specifically for rare disease researchers. And the aim of the mentoring is to increase the impact and patient benefit of the excellent science funded in EJP RD. With this mentoring support, applicants will receive project-specific feedback from a panel of drug development, biomarker validation, methodological and regulatory experts tasked with optimizing the translational feasibility of the study. There's a brief explanation on the service on the left-hand side, as you can see here. And you will find on the right-hand side information on the service provider, which is EATRIS in this case. And you have two buttons here where on the one hand you can view the provider's website, but you can also view all the services provided by that particular infrastructure. For the mentoring service, we've also attached a leaflet with all the important information. Now we'll briefly show that to you as well. I have it open here, and I highly recommend you to bookmark this one as well, so you can read all about the mentoring, how it works, what is expected of that, and you will find the contact details as well in this document. So again, please bookmark this in your bookmark section, and that's my last item that I want to show you. Here on my IMT, you will find all the resources that you have bookmarked. So actually it should look like this if you have followed along. So the expert mentoring service information sheet, I have bookmarked it for myself, so it's now all collected in this section, so you can always view later any important resources that you want to collect for yourself. So this now concludes the live demo of the IMT, and as a very short recap, you can always find all the information here on the top bar, including the homepage, the browser function, the questions and answers, use cases, the services, and the IMT, my IMT section. We invite you to use and explore the IMT in the following weeks and provide us with your feedback and suggestions for improvements. For this, we have set up a survey, which we encourage you to fill in. And I will now hand back over to Adriana for the final wrap-up of the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rosan. While I still wait for some questions, let me just ask this one that I believe it's of interest for our attendees. You mentioned the mentoring services and that it was developed within EJP RD, but is it still available? And what I would like to know, so is it free of charge? And who is entitled to ask for this kind of help?
Yes, so thank you very much. Indeed, this mentoring program is still running under EJP RD, and it is actually for any principal investigator that is performing research in the rare diseases area. But Anton perhaps wants to complement this.
Yeah, sure. Basically, we're happy to hear from anybody who's working on rare diseases. And you let us know the sort of area that you're working in, what kind of expertise you'd like. We'll have a first scoping call with you, 30 minutes to hear what kind of issues you face or what kind of support you'd like. Sometimes you don't even know what the next steps are, and you'd like to help actually understand what the next steps are. We can also help bring experts in for that. So don't hesitate to reach out. It's totally free. After the first scoping call, we then go and find the experts that you need. And this can all be done under a CDA, and the mentors also sign conflict of interest and non-disclosure forms as well to make sure that we have a very safe process for you to really access people who truly understand that process beyond that first validation and in towards the patient.
Excellent, thank you. Now that I have you, Anton, here, I have one question for you from audience. I assigned the question to you. I believe you were able to read it. And I will give Katharina Stingel, I will give her the permission to speak as well. The question was, so I have a question, but I'm not sure if this is the correct platform. I'm a clinician scientist involved in ERN. What should we do in the ERN if we would like to propose a new translational research call? In example, EJP RD or other? I think you are the right person to answer this question.
Propose a call, a funding call, is that what you mean?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I don't think it's possible to influence the nature of the call. It's only possible to answer 2 calls. Yeah, basically it's always the member states, both in EJP or in European Commission funding. There's the member states, it's called the program committee. So there's a program committee for health, and each member state has a representation there, and they will discuss what the strategic agenda will be. So they might say, okay, we'd like to put out a call for supporting gene therapy in rare diseases, and then that call will be created. So the process, your most successful route will be to try to talk to your national contact point for health. Which should be, you should be able to Google that and find out. I'm afraid it's a local thing, so I can't help you directly with that. But your national contact point for health, because they are the ones that support the program committee and handling these strategic questions. But it's not so easy to influence that agenda. But there are some organizations, large organizations, that support in the providing information to that process. But yeah, each country has a very different process. I hope that helped a bit. Sorry, it's not very useful.
Yeah, that helped, at least that I know that that's not the way. But I mean, in general, in the ear and eyes, there is this. I mean, we are the eye, the ophthalmology ear, and there is this, I call it, problem that you can only apply to the calls, but there is like not a direct foundation from the European Union, although it's required to make a lot of work in the ear. And so we wanted to approach this the other way around. If we can't get funding, we can propose a call. And if you say this is not possible, then the small areas like ophthalmology are quite, yeah, I mean, in the bad situation, because if you neither can get funding nor influence the calls, that is there some suggestion for this field how to enable, yeah, network clinical trials, because we are, I don't know, I mean, like in most of the ERNS 10 countries, and there are topics that actually we would like to get funded for a translational research. So is there something you can recommend?
Well, so perhaps, to discuss it within the ERN, if all of the ERNs in those 10 countries are talking to your program committees, you might have a chance, but it's very unlikely that you would be able to get a call that's dedicated to ophthalmology, for instance. What you could do is, with all the ERNs, and maybe through ERICA, work out a strategy to actually lobby the member states to create funding mechanisms in future EC calls, to be able to support the networking. But this is probably a known problem with the European Commission, that the ERNs have little funding, but a lot of work to be part of an ERN. So I think This is a known problem. Yeah, it's not limited to, I think, the ophthalmology. We hear this from all the ERNs. It's a longer term issue. I don't have a clear answer to it, I'm afraid, but it will involve, yeah, the need for support from some sort of funding in order to improve this. More than that, I can't really say, I'm afraid. But indeed, if through ERICA you create a strategy on really working with the policymakers to say, look, we need to have reasonable funding for these coordination mechanisms, you'd have a good chance if the whole community is pushing at this.
Yeah, but still, thanks for the answer.
No more question in the chat box. I will once again say that you can also raise your hand, and in case you do so, I will give you the permission to speak, and you can of course write questions. Let me use this opportunity to ask another poll question while we wait for your engagement. So what we want to know is, have you used the Catalogue of Services prior to this webinar? And the same goes for the IMT. So I will give 1 minute to each question. Please provide us with your answer. Thank you. So 95% of you haven't used Catalogue of Services prior to this webinar, which means that the webinar was well targeted and well needed in the community. I will launch our last question, which is, have you used the Innovation Management Toolbox prior to this webinar? 1 minute for you to vote. Okay, I will close the question now and I will share the answer with you. So also a large percentage never used the INT before this webinar. So I really do hope that this will change after the webinar and that this live tutorial has helped you to learn how to use it and to navigate, and you were able to see its benefits. So for the end of the webinar, let me see, are there any questions? No. Any raised hands at this point? Also no. So as Rosan already mentioned, we will send you a short survey that will follow after the webinar, and we ask you for your feedback. So you will receive a few short questions, and we ask you for your answers because we would like to improve the toolbox, and we can only do that if we have researchers and clinicians using the toolbox and giving us their feedback. So once more, I would like to thank my panelists today, Anton, Agustin, and Rosan. Thank you so much for being here today with me and presenting the Catalogue of Services and the Innovation Management Toolbox. Special thanks also goes to EJP RD Work Package 19, to the entire team who really helped in developing this self-help research toolbox. So thank you once again, and I wish everyone a lovely afternoon. So thank you.
Thank you, Adriana. Really appreciate it.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.